Hello, everybody. Welcome to the home of your bison, where today is a day of celebration. Our event is going to begin in 1 minute. Be a force for good. Take your seats and watch the action on the court in 1 minute.
When I think about the word homelessness, a lot of different images come to mind. I think a lot of the standard words are addiction, abuse, neglect.
Or they're being lazy and they aren't trying to help themselves.
You kind of wonder what they're thinking as far as what kind of life that is. Why would you want to live like that?
Someone lying on a bench that, is dirty and is hungry.
I never know if those are the people that try to take advantage or they actually are in need. And so personally, I am very torn.
You say, well, go get a job or go do this. It's so easy to just say something or judge someone.
Helpless is probably the word that comes to mind when you see them standing on the side of the street.
I think about myself. I could be in that situation. Sometimes I think, why are they there? What's the root cause?
You might be somebody who's very successful and working really hard, and maybe your health changed and left you unable to work, and you can't control that.
A lot of time, people just need help for a couple months.
That person that comes through the door that might be looking for help, this may be their very first attempt at that. And it's hard.
Walking out of a homeless shelter and just being a fresh start, where do you start? As far as feeding myself, clothing myself, getting back into the workforce.
What you have to do, I think, as a caring society, is try to find a way to remove those barriers and those impediments.
We need the transitional housing to help people not to fall back into homelessness.
And then there's more confidence there, which then relates to, I'm gonna go out, look for a job, my kids are in school, I'm a productive citizen in our town that's paying taxes. So that's all that ripple effect.
I'm a workforce development case manager, and I recruit individuals to go through different training programs that we've partnered with M-State and the United Way with to help individuals that are in poverty or low income to lift them up into a livable wage and develop their job skills.
Lakes and Prairies have these programs and can help get you a career going, and that's how I met Amy. I was incarcerated, and when I got out, I didn't have anything. I was trying to stay focused on not violating and going back to prison, trying to find a job and trying to get an apartment. So I started looking for jobs, getting the doors slammed in my face, door after door after door after door. Pretty much I gave up. And I seen that brochure at Lakes and Prairies on it. It had the welding program on it. And I was just looking at it, I was like, oh, Lakes and Prairies, what the heck?
So the first time I met Eric I actually was done taking applications for the welding course. The day before, I said I can take one more application.
Probably like an hour, half an hour or something like that, she called. And she told me I got approved. And I was like, really? I got excited.
From that day forward, you know, he was there every day. He was working a part-time job at one of the facilities here in town, a restaurant in town, and doing that after he got out of this 8-hour welding course. And then he'd go home after work at 11 o'clock at night and try to do his homework.
Sometimes I didn't get to bed till like 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning.
He struggled through the whole course, and he kept telling me, he said, Amy, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can finish this.
She just kept encouraging me. And next thing you know, it was pretty much at the end of the course, and I was still there.
And after he completed it, he said, I'm gonna be looking for jobs. I'm gonna apply everywhere. And he has a felony on his background. Every time he went and applied, people will see that check mark and not even call him up. I said to him, I'll take a day and I'll set aside 3 or 4 hours and we'll drive around and we'll drop off applications and resumes. And 2 days later, he was called for an interview, and a day after that, he was offered a job. And now I'm getting him into an apartment that's way better than what he is in for his 18-month-old daughter and his fiance, who hasn't seen in over a year. He never met his baby girl because he was in prison at the time.
When Eric met Aria for the first time, the feelings for me were exciting and exhilarating.
Liz introduced me to her, she just right off the bat, huge smile, and she just came to me, kind of teared up. I tried to be a man not to show it.
They bonded, and
I'm so happy they're here. Every day I wake up.
I think she brought life back into him.
So now I got something to really, really fight for.
He's supporting them, he has a vehicle. It's a night and day difference.
Amy to, stick with me this close and tight, I didn't ever expect it.
When you can have someone that's almost on the street to moving into a 2-bedroom apartment and has his family under the one roof, there's good.
I didn't believe there was good people out there like that. And I guess I was proved wrong.
Changing the stereotypes is going to be dependent upon people getting involved, because all of a sudden it's not just homeless people, right? It's Paul, it's Frank, it's Mary, it's these people that you know, and when you make those connections, it becomes much more real.
First place it starts is being sympathetic towards them and see yourself in their position. You may not be in it at the time. You don't know what tomorrow brings.
You have so much to offer this world when you're only given that opportunity, but somebody has to reach out for you to help you.
It goes back to people need to take care of people, and people have to have a want and desire to make a change. Otherwise, nothing will ever change.
I think people need just to open their minds a little bit more and kind of try to see the other side.
People deserve the chance to improve. They deserve the chance to be better than they were yesterday. And so to have access to programs or support to get them to the programs they need is one of the things United Way does very well.
When you give to United Way, you reduce hunger and homelessness and help lift people out of poverty. You also prepare students to be successful and help people to be independent. Those are all great goals that any community should want to achieve.
If we work hard to accomplish things in our community that benefit people around us, then we have a better town. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Giving back is gonna make it so much stronger. and giving people pride because it's their community, it's your community, it's our community.
All of us want to be an immediate help, but I think sometimes it's not possible, but there are ways we can do it.
The United Way is such a great example of a force for good because it's not only a small financial donation by many, but it's also the concept and the idea of improving the lives in the community.
I am a force for good.
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 Be a force for good.
Be a force for good.
Only when we work together are we a force for good.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We are so glad that you are here with us today and that you are choosing to be a force for good. What do you think of the video? I hope that you feel connected to it, because if you gave to the United Way and through the United Way campaign last year, you were a part of Eric's story, of Leslie's story, and Aria's story. And Aria is here today, and Eric and Leslie, they're here with us today, and so is Amy, their case manager, and we just want to welcome, a special welcome to you. Thank you, and we are so proud of you. And by the way, Aria, you are so cute. You kind of steal the show, yeah. So when you think about being a force for good, I want you to think about in the next hour, we're only gonna be here in this space together for an hour, and then I hope you plan to stay for the social afterwards. But when you think about being a force for good, I hope you think of it in two ways. I hope you think about being a force for good in that individually we can do a lot. But together, when we come together and we have very focused and innovative strategies that we're investing in together, we can do so much more. And the second way I want you to think about it is when you think about being a force for good, I want you to think about being a force that not only makes an impact for tomorrow or next week or 2 months down the road, but ultimately makes an impact for good, lasting change in our community. You're going to hear from a lot of our speakers today, and I hope that you will think about how it inspires you or it engages you to raise your hand this year, to maybe volunteer for something new, get involved in something new, go to a different event, and maybe, just maybe, lean in a little bit further into an area that you really have an interest in being a part of. But ultimately, I hope you are thinking today, who are you going to bring along with you in order to be that force for good as we go out into the community? Because our community needs you. And we are ready. We have an amazing United Way team that is ready to partner with you. And so to get this really going, I want to bring up our Resource Development Director, who is a rock star, Travis Christopher.
Wow. Whoa, this is really cool. We're glad you're here, and thanks, Christy. And you know, when you get to speak at United Way events, you get to name your own walk-up music. You gotta like the Queens of the Stone Age. Come on, it's beautiful. Hey, I get the best gig for 2 minutes. I get to thank people. Can we give it up for Wanzik Construction, Excel Energy, and Media Productions? Can we do that right now? I thought we could. Thank you for bringing this event together. When we get together in a great space like this, those three made it happen. We thank you for that. I also have to thank another group, and that's our Live United sponsors. These are the groups, you'll see their logos up there. These are the organizations that sponsor all of our events throughout the year. And likewise, our presenting sponsors, wonderful organizations who have said, we're going to support you all year long on your events and deliver the story to our community. Can we give it up for them, please? Now, if you're a social media addict like I am, and I have accepted my fate, and that's okay, we have a Snapchat filter today, and it's wonderful. You'll want to check it out. Basically, you take a picture and then swipe. For those of you on Snapchat, understand what that means. You swipe, and then you'll see our new filter. You want to swipe and check that out. It's wonderful. And since you already have your phones out, And don't pretend like you don't, because I know you do. We also have something on Facebook today that we're awful proud of. We have a wonderful team that puts this together. We have a Facebook profile picture frame today. And what you can do, you simply go to your profile on Facebook, tap your profile picture, choose Edit, and then you want to search for Force for Good. And you'll want to add that to your Facebook profile. How cool is that? And if you want to do it another way, just go to the United Way of Cass Clay Facebook page. We have it posted a couple hours ago, and you simply click Try It. Doesn't get any easier than that. And thank you for sharing our Force for Good. Speaking of leaders, I have to thank a group of people, and it's a group of about 41 people that comprise our campaign cabinet. You'll see their names on the screen. Now, we're kicking off today, which we're doing and we're celebrating. This is halftime for these people. The campaign cabinet started meeting in May to have a great campaign and to get us off on a great start. These people spend their summers meeting with CEOs, employee campaign coordinators, organizations, businesses, to get everybody excited about the campaign, and their work continues through November. So we're excited about our campaign. Can we give them a thank you as well? And to you employee campaign coordinators, you know who you are. You're the ones at the companies, and we talk about it, that give a gift of time. That's what you do. And you drive the campaigns at your organizations. Where you go, we go. And we thank our employee campaign coordinators. Can we have it up for them too, please? So now, I'm going to introduce our 2017 campaign chair to come up on the stage. Paul Richard is an incredible leader in this town. He's done some great things. He most recently was executive vice president of Sanford Health here in our market, and they opened a small little clinic on the south side of Fargo, some of you might be familiar with. But we're excited to have him with us. So would you help me out, and please welcome to the stage our 2017 campaign chair, Paul Richard, and a few of his friends. You know, Paul, you're a great guy. I just don't know about some of the company you keep, but that's okay. We're glad you're here. But before I leave, you got a little business to take care of.
I do. I'm really proud to be serving as the campaign chair this year, and I'm here to announce that our goal this year is $5.9 million. So give it up, Team Cass Clay.
Absolutely. That's great, Paul. If you've given before, we want you to give again and increase your gift this year. You're going to hear some great things in a short amount of time. And if you haven't given previously, I would ask that you consider it and invest in our community. We're doing some great things, and some great results are happening because of you. And a special thank you to you leaders in giving. That's the $600 level and up, and as well as our Tocqueville donors. We appreciate you. We couldn't do what we do without you. Paul, the stage is yours.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
President Brashani, where was that cart when I was running laps in this room in 1971? Yep, our goal is $5.9 million, but I actually prefer round numbers, so what do you say about $6 million? Come on. It's a team effort. This is like a pep rally for Team Cass Clay. You know, we also ask ourselves when we get involved in things like this, projects, raising money, why these goals matter. You've seen the bold goals. Why do they matter? I think all of you sitting here today, regardless of who you work for, you're members of this community. And I can tell you, for example, in our organization, we employ about 28,000 people. I can almost assure you that someone in our organization is impacted by the things that are holding people back, that these goals are aimed to address. That's really what this is about. This is really about trying to address the things that hold people back, to remove the barriers and make a difference as a community. And it doesn't matter who you are in this community, we all should care about this. It is something that we all should care about profoundly. So United Way's goals really help to address those needs that we all know exist. A good example of this is recently I had the opportunity to participate in the distribution of the backpacks. We all know what that is. And I told Christy, I said, next year we need less hot pink. Just saying. I don't know about your high school kids, but you know, there's high school kids. I think that's a surprising thought to people. A lot of high school kids are there to pick up backpacks and school supplies. But what struck me was, you know, it was a very enjoyable thing to participate in because of the gratitude of both the parents and the children. And what struck me was it didn't really seem to matter what the backpack looked like or whether it had their favorite superhero on it. It was more about when they opened up the backpack and saw those school supplies, how excited they were to have those supplies. Because what does that do? That removed the barriers they're going to have to success, because they might have gone to school their first day of school without the basic school supplies they need to be successful. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. You know, when you think about what we're trying to accomplish through the bold goals, sometimes it can seem daunting. How do we even accomplish this? And I think even more so as individuals, as you sit back in your chairs or you sit at home and you see some of this, the stories that were on earlier, you say to yourself, how can I really have an impact? I'm going to tell you that from the standpoint of whether your gift is $1 a week, $2 a week, $20 a day, or $10,000 a year, it doesn't really matter. The point is, United Way is about leveraging the multiples. It's about bringing people together and collectively trying to find solutions that work. You know, it's interesting, and I think it's also sometimes when you look at the problems, you can get kind of defeated, or you can be a little bit cynical about why someone is in a situation they're in. I'm going to tell you, you saw the story. This isn't about a handout. This is about removing a barrier to success. But at the end of the day, the individual has to walk, just like he had to go and Eric had to take the welding class. He has to do the work, walk through the open door, and own their own personal success. That's what this is about. And I think his story is a great example of exactly what we're trying to accomplish. So again, it takes all of us to remove these barriers that are impediments to people's own personal success. You know, you heard the song Fleetwood Mac that tells you how old I am. Yes, I listened to Fleetwood Mac. Rumors is the best album on the planet. You know, when I first started thinking, I said, you know, what kind of a song would I like to walk out to? And, you know, I was thinking, one of my favorite songs is, okay, I just went completely blank. It was another song, and Go Your Own Way. And I thought to myself, you know, Go Your Own Way is a great song, but not very appropriate for this event, because this isn't about going your own way. This is about going the United Way. And if you really look at the words of Don't Stop, Think About Tomorrow, it will be different. It won't be different if you do nothing different. It will be different if you do things differently, make a change, and look to try to make a change. A couple of good examples are the housing navigation, housing first concept. What a unique concept. People might be successful if they had a place to go and a pillow to put their head on at night that isn't under the bridge or somewhere else that isn't a home. Home is a basic. So this navigation program helps people navigate that and get into that home, stable housing. The student wellness facilitators, that this year we had the privilege as an organization to partner with United Way and the West Fargo Public Schools to put a wellness facility in the public school in West Fargo. We know it works. It's in the other schools in the community. But this is an opportunity for us to try something different, to partner with United Way, to partner with the school system, and see if we'll make an impact. And I will tell you, I am almost 100% confident that because those student wellness facilitators are in the schools, in those hallways today, that there will be a successful story to tell about that. So as I started out by saying, as business, as individuals, we need to ask ourselves, what can we do differently to find solutions, to generate results for all of United Way goals? And I will tell you that the tactics are not on the 4 bold goals. That is being implemented by the United Way team and all of their partners in regard to how do we implement these to achieve the goals that we're trying to accomplish. And I'm going to tell you, they're measurable. And that's one of the things I have the privilege in the last year to sit in on the board meetings and listen to the board talk about how we're going to measure success. How do we know that these programs are, in fact, the things we should be supporting? And I think that's all of you in your business, regardless what your business is, know very well that you want to look for things that make an impact that you can measure. My wife sitting right here is an accountant. I can tell you, she talks about measuring things all the time. Just saying. Right, Mary Jo? So we need to come together as one to look for solutions that make a difference. That's what United Way is all about. Yep, you can go your own way, but I prefer the team approach. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a book. I read a book about a year ago called Team of Teams. I don't know if any of you have read it. It's a book by retired General Stanley McChrystal, and it is not really a management book, but I'm going to tell you, it is the best management book I've ever read. And if you ever have an opportunity to pick it up, it's worth a read. But there were two basic statements in that book. It's not a very big book, it's an easy read, but there were two statements that have stuck with me the whole time, and I use this with my team in regard to how we can be successful. And I think it's very appropriate for what the conversation we're having today and why we're here. Teams are successful when they have a shared understanding and a shared purpose. I think that sums it up pretty much what we're trying to accomplish today. And lastly, I just want to say that whenever you get involved in an organization or connected with an organization, you want to know who you hooking your wagon to. Are they going to be successful? I will tell you that I have been participating in United Way for a long time, longer than I want to think. But the reality is that this team, led by Christy and the entire team of the United Way and the board, are very dedicated to finding solutions, things that work. So I got to tell you, they're an effective team. They will tell you how they're doing, they will measure how they're doing, and they'll tell you how successful they are doing. And if it's not working, they will change direction. Lastly, why are we here? Let's not forget the faces that you have an impact on at United Way. There are many, many people who every day are impacted by the generosity, the work that you're doing, all the things that you do as members of this great team, Cass Clay. So at the end of the day, just remember, we are all a force for good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. I took about 3 notes there from you. A, no pink backpacks. Less hot pink backpacks, but if we can count on you next year and coming back to help us out. I know that was an incredibly meaningful experience for you, and we really appreciate how you've gone above and beyond to help our team and to help our community really rally this mission of let's be a force for good. So you've just done an outstanding job, and we thank you for that, Paul. So one of the most important things that I talked about earlier and that Paul talked about is how are we going to, as a force, we just can't keep this energy and this excitement, we can't keep it in this room. We've got to take it with us. And we've got to think about how are we going to get more people involved in this work and get them excited about being a force for good for the community. And so as you think about the next few months, as you think about the campaigns that you're going to run in your organizations, and you think about the different ways you can be involved, I would ask you to start thinking about 3 or 4 people that you know you want to ask and you want to talk to. Because if you open your programs, Christina and Amy from our team have just done a magnificent job of making sure that you have all of the events that are coming up, from chili feeds at Roars to Sundog doing a block party next week. Bring some people along with you. Be a force for good, and let's move this force throughout the community together, because that is where we will see that momentum, and we will see more advocates, and we will see more volunteers, and that, I tell you, is good for our community. One of the other things that's coming up is we are going to be having in December another poverty simulation. It's called A Day in the Life, and we have had outstanding feedback from those that have been a part of it. If you've been a part of one of those sessions, would you raise your hand right now? These are the people you need to talk to. You need to ask them, what was your experience like? But from what we hear back, being able to have a moment in time where you go and you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes for just perhaps a couple of hours provides something so powerful that is what we think of as empathy. Because when we have empathy for others, we have an opportunity to think above and beyond ourselves. And that's where the real force for good happens. Another thing that I would encourage you to do is I would like you to start thinking about who you might know that might be a great potential emerging leader. And you know that that's a program that we started just a couple of years ago. And we did this because all of the data is telling us that in order to build leaders, volunteerism is a huge part of that. And so what we want to do and continue to invest in the community is by really ramping up this emerging leaders group. And last year we had over 450 people that raised their hand and said, hey, I'm around 40 or under. We don't check IDs at the door, but we want to be a part of something. We want to give back to our community through a financial investment, and we want to give at least 8 hours of volunteer time back to the community. And if you're an emerging leader, would you just raise your hand right now? And then if you're sitting next to that person, will you give them a high five? Because that is exactly how we will continue to not only invest in our future workforce and our future leaders in our community, but we are doing great things together. But I don't want you to take it from me. I think it's better if you hear it from somebody who's been in the program and has had that firsthand experience. And so at this point in time, it is my pleasure to invite up Ann Schneider, one of our emerging leaders. I love your energy, and I told you that you should have an Ellen moment. Yes. And so this is, right? And that's pretty amazing. And I love your energy. You bring that energy every time you go someplace, Anne, and it shows through, and that's what draws people. You're like a magnet. Right. So you've been a part of Emerging Leaders now for a couple of years. Yep. And what are some of the things that you've been involved in with Emerging Leaders?
Yeah, well, it's really cool because a lot of the things that I've done are things that have been talked about here today. One thing that we haven't talked about, the very first thing I ever did was a leadership breakfast. And it was at Shields, and we had the president of Shields come in and talk to us about his leadership journey and their involvement in the community. And it was just a really great experience to kind of have those other like-minded people around you and to kind of see somebody else's path, you know, and think about, kind of reflect how that could potentially look for you too. I've done the backpacks. I helped fill the backpacks, and I also helped distribute the backpacks this year. I was able to get into both slots, so that was lucky. And then I've also done the poverty simulation, and that was, you know, that was really eye-opening. I ended up being on kind of the outside, how it gets set up. Physically, I was on the outside. I was the landlord. And so,
were you a good landlord or were you a bad landlord?
You know, I was pretty good, but I did teach a few people a lesson. And so it was just a really amazing experience to kind of see what these people go through and to really take it to heart and realize that this is reality for some people. So it was really impactful. I would encourage you all, if you have the opportunity, to volunteer for that.
Absolutely. You know, I know that one of the other things that you have been a part of is that we've seen your picture doing something with hammers and cleaning and things like that. But can you talk about that, and what is the most meaningful experience that you've had so far through the program?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was, I was a part of a crew, and we were able to go and help renovate a house for a family that was going to be coming out of homelessness. And so it was a lot of physical labor that day, which, I mean, I love to get my hands in and get dirty and do some things. And so, you know, we were tearing out flooring, we were prepping walls, we were painting, we were laying flooring. And so as we're going through all of this, I'm thinking about this, you know, this project and what it means and what we're doing, and I get emotional. What is a home? What does that mean? And so thinking through, it's something physical, right? We're giving people a place to come and to get out of the elements. I mean, it's very basic when you look at it that way. But it's a lot deeper too. It's somewhere you go, your family can gather, and you talk about your day. You know, you talk about successes and failures, you plan for your future. You know, you keep your stuff there. It's, if you've had a hard day at work, for me, I just want to go home. Mm-hmm. And so it was just kind of working through this whole process of, what would you do if you didn't have a home? Mm-hmm. You know, what would that look like? And so it just really got me thinking about what we're providing for this family and how we're able to give them like a literal foundation to build their lives on now, and how it just gives them a chance to start fresh and start new and to not have to worry about those things that we take for granted. And so it was it was good.
That's, I mean, what more can you say, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's truly, your passion, and that's why we asked you to share it, because it shines through, and your heart is just so much about being a force for good in the community. And so we're just really grateful that you have this heart and this energy that you want to put forth to this. And so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
No easy questions, right? When
No,
you come up to the
I
hot
was
seat.
warned, and I also warned I'm gonna cry.
That's
so
all right.
We both delivered.
I've been known to shed a tear once or twice. No, Ann, this is awesome. So what would you tell some people that are here today that might know somebody asking for a friend, that they might have somebody that's interested in being a part of Emerging Leaders program?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is it's super affordable. I was actually having a conversation with a friend about this, and she said, I'm going to this Emerging Leaders things, and I was like, Emerging Leaders, like, I'm not part of that exclusive group, and she was like, it's $6. Like, every week it's $6, and I was like, I'm doing $5 right now, I can totally do $6 and get into this program. And so it's way more affordable than maybe a lot of us realize, but I would also say start now. The more, just do it. It's a little scary sometimes, I think, to start something new, but just to get in there and just make today your day and start. And then when you do start, the last thing, and we've talked about this a lot, is to bring somebody with you. For me, that's kind of the fun highlight, is to be able to, at work, we can talk about this really amazing thing that we did for the community instead of, Game of Thrones or whatever else is going on. And so being able to bring others along with you, and I think that's what the Emerging Leaders really is about. It's about being a leader and bringing other people with you and showing them, you can be a part of this too, and look at what we can do all together. And I think that's where the force comes from, is just one person saying, hey, Christy, let's go do this together.
Yeah, absolutely. Aren't we lucky to have Ann in our community? Yes. Thank you, Ann. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And your moves are pretty sweet, I have to say. You've got sweet moves. You saw the photo earlier. You saw the photo of Ann, and you saw the others that she was working with, and they were working on that mobile home in West Fargo. And I can tell you that there is a success story behind that, because that family, it was a mom and a grandma and 2 kids, and the youngest was 4, and they had been living in their car for 4 years. And for that family, they got to move into this new home. It was new to them. And through the work of the Housing First program and the great housing navigators that work to help provide an opportunity to connect those families and individuals with the resources that they need in order to be successful, it's just been incredible. And now I can tell you that that family has now moved into the next apartment, and they are doing really well, and they're thriving. And because of you as United Way donors, and because of our community partners, that is that collective partnership, that community impact model, where we all come together and we make really smart, targeted investments, and we have partners that deliver and provide those results. And so we wouldn't have had that without you, and that program is actually just a year into the inception in this community. And so with a lot of hard work and with your United Way dollars, you are making a huge, huge impact in our community. But we know that we haven't solved all of the issues of homelessness in the community, and we know that because you saw the video earlier, you saw the live footage of Christina, when she was working on creating the video, you saw what was happening in our community, and those images were taken not far from downtown Fargo. That is the reality for some people in our community, and especially with the most chronically homeless. And so as we were going through and we were creating this video, we actually had a really great opportunity to get to know a new partner in the community. We had an opportunity to get to know Officer Jessica White, who is just so cool. And she is a downtown resource officer for the city of Fargo. We are so fortunate that she's working with us and our community because she has a heart like you wouldn't believe, and it's just been an honor for me and our team to get to know Jessica and the work that she's doing and the passion she has for helping others succeed. And so at this point in time, it's my honor to invite Jessica White, Officer Jessica White, to come up to the stage and share a little bit about what she sees on a daily basis.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light people. Don't stop believing.
I can't help but laugh because Paul got to ride up on a golf cart. Anne was dancing, and I was more worried about whether I was going to be able to get up out of that seat or not and not get stuck. So like Christy said, my name is Jessica White, and I'm a police officer with the city of Fargo. When I got asked to talk in front of you all this afternoon, I had 3 goals. The first was to give you an understanding of the struggles someone in the homeless community can experience from my point of view, to stay within my 4-minute speaking window. And I also promised Christy that I wouldn't swear. So for all of you that have heard me speak before, you know that's going to be the real struggle here today. But all joking aside, I'm truly honored to be able to speak to all of you about what is going on in our community. To start off, I've been a police officer for just shy of 10 years, and in my career I have seen a lot of things, both good and bad. Some days the bad outweighs the good, but that comes with the territory. I started working in the downtown district of Fargo about 2 years ago, and I had no idea what to expect. For those of you that aren't familiar with downtown Fargo, the chief complaints that the city gets are for quality of life issues, which more oftentimes than not involve people in the homeless community. Quality of life issues can be summed up as alcohol-related offenses, panhandling, and other disorderly acts. I started out my new position writing tickets for such offenses thinking I was solving the problem. But I quickly realized that I was fighting a large monster with a paper sword. Now, I don't want you to get the wrong picture up here. I do still write tickets, because my boss is in the audience. But my point is to what comes after the ticket. I distinctly remember one day I watched an individual ask for money downtown. I quickly caught up to him and issued him a ticket for panhandling, and his response to me was, you know, I'm just going to go panhandle to pay this fine. You know that, right? And of course, my first reaction was fantastic. I promised you I wouldn't cuss, right? But I stood there thinking, there has to be something different that I can do. As a new officer with the Fargo Police Department, we instill the concept of problem-based learning. The concept pushes individuals to come up with out-of-the-box ideas by researching and gaining resources and knowledge about the problem itself. I incorporated this concept into trying to figure out a way to disrupt the downward spiral that I see a lot of individuals fall into. I began by going to court to watch what would happen to individuals who were cited. This could have been their initial appearance, their second, third, or 50th sometimes. The penalty ranged from fines to days in jail, and the cycle was repeated when somebody was unable to pay their fines and a warrant was issued. Some individuals can need medical attention prior to going to jail, and this extends an officer's time with them. This all involves money, mind you, and to put a number on it, I can truthfully say it costs roughly $70 a day to house somebody in jail, not including the time it has taken from the officer to arrest, transport, and other duties. Now, the average fine for someone who gets a drinking in public ticket is $100, depending on their priors. Now, if you carry the 1 and you subtract 7, I'm not a mathematician, obviously, but ultimately, we can say that we as a community are paying for people to commit quality of life offenses. While brainstorming, an observation I made was that a lot of these individuals are very capable people who are battling a lot of demons. After working with municipal court, the local shelters, and the police department, I created a community service program to help disrupt the revolving door that a lot of these individuals get stuck in. The program started in August of 2016 And to date, the participants have worked off just shy of $15,000 worth of fines that the city would have never seen. This number is substantial for many reasons, but there are more important factors at play. In getting people into the program, several individuals were able to connect with some other individuals to reach other goals. Some of the current housing navigators were able to get housing opportunities for a lot of the people in the program, and that has cut down on my interaction with them greatly. You might ask yourself why this is important. The easiest way to sum it up is in the amount of resources someone in this type of case takes up. When I try to explain to others who question this idea, I stress the importance of something like this by using the example of somebody named Timmy. When Timmy wasn't housed, I would be safe in saying we dealt with Timmy hundreds of times a year. When Timmy was housed, I can say I dealt with him less than 30 times a year, and considering the cost of resources I talked about earlier, that speaks for itself. When housing is available and they have the stability of a place to go home to, people are able to start working on bettering themselves on other levels, and knowing someone is there to have their back is comforting. The expectation of someone to be completely self-sufficient once given housing is unrealistic, but with the supportive housing model that the housing navigators embrace, it is possible to succeed even when the deck is stacked against you. If I had all of the answers for this problem, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. And by no means is this the answer for everyone, but it can definitely help a lot of people who are stuck in a bad place. I was asked what my secret was to remain optimistic, and the answer to that is empathy. I have had my share of bad days, but some of the people we are talking about have had bad weeks, years, and even lives. I'm able to go home, get a good night's sleep, and recharge, but that isn't a reality for some of us. So have patience and understanding of those individuals who find themselves there. Try to put yourself in their shoes and think of how you would like to be treated. And don't judge a book by its cover, as you don't know what battle this person is going through. I will leave you with this. In my experience in speaking on this topic, an individual once asked me, "But if you build it, they will come." And I said to him, in all of my 32 years of millennial wisdom, "They are already here, so you might as well be a part of the solution. By being here today, you can choose how you will be a force for good."
Awesome. Thank you so much. Jessica, it has been such an honor to get to know you, and I know that we'll continue to collaborate together, and I know that many of our community partners work right alongside you as well, but you're an inspiration to us, and thank you for being a force for good in our community. You know, I think that one of the things that really struck me as I got to know Jessica is just the fact that she's thinking outside the box. She's trying to be innovative with her solutions, and that innovation is working. It's working really well. And that's what we're trying to do too at United Way. We're trying to look at where are the gaps in our community, and where can we, if we bring partners together, great partners, and we have an amazing group of community nonprofit partners that we work with, and thank you to each one of you that's in the room today with us. But when we come together, and when we have our community come together, and we look at those innovative solutions, that is community impact. And just like what we have worked on with the workforce that you saw earlier with Eric's story and Leslie's story, we are also working on the Housing First project and program that we're working on together. And we, in the last year, have been able to see great results. People that are chronically homeless, maybe not having another opportunity, another option, but together with the right programming and the right intervention at the right time, and being paired with the right housing navigator, they can absolutely change their story. And so we want you to know your intervention that you're investing in is working. And we want to share the story with you now. Let's watch Dwayne's story.
Just last year, I was arrested for panhandling because I was on the corner with the sign, nowhere to go. I mean, I didn't have nothing. All I had was the clothes on my back.
When I first met Dwayne, which was about a year ago, he was sleeping outside just about every night. On the nights that he was sleeping inside, he was in a shelter. He was spending a lot of time in detox, a lot of time in the emergency room, a lot of time in ambulances.
I've been sleeping under the bridge down there next to Petro. the one they just built the dock at. I was homeless. I had to walk everywhere. I'd get up at like 4 a.m. because I'd have to walk an hour and a half to be at Labor Master by 5:30 to try to get work. Some nights I'd stay at the homeless shelter, some nights I'd sleep outside. I didn't have a driver's license. Didn't really have any hope. I'd given up. Lisa was my significant other. I mean, she was different about anybody I've ever been with. She was my best friend and everything. We relapsed one time over Thanksgiving. We were sitting there having some drinks. Child Services came in, called the police. Police came, handcuffed us, charged us with felony child neglect, took the kid away. Lisa had a heart attack in the jail cell. They brought her body back, but she was brain dead. The doctor said she died from broken heart syndrome. Once you lose everything, you lose hope. I mean, one little relapse for 3 days and I lost my kid over it. And really, I want my son back. That's the most important thing. I got out of jail and I was went on a bad drunk. I'd pass out on the sidewalk and wake up in the emergency room. She'd be standing over me.
When I picked him off of the street a few times, where he just responded with this, I can't believe that you came here. And that's what people need. They need connection to the community. They need just somebody that's going to be there. This program started about just over a year ago. It's a new philosophy in the community. Let's see why there is still this group of people that hasn't been successful in maintaining housing and try something different. He has a lot of goals. He decided that it was time for him to turn his life around. He wants to be able to make good money and support himself.
And the problem with being homeless, you don't have nowhere to keep your stuff. So if you have anything you want, you've got to keep it with you at all times. So you're always dragging all this crap around. You go straight on the job site and they're, oh, it's another one of them homeless people. I've heard other people say that homeless people don't work. So right off the bat, you're labeled as a sorry worker just because you don't want to lose your stuff. It makes for a bad day at work because they treat you differently. Just having a home base just to put your stuff up so you can go start living to try to get a life back, I mean, is a big help.
He's able to think about what happens next. His basic needs are met, and so he can kind of move up and pursue some other things.
I mean, like with Amber's organization, they're going to get you housing. I mean, they get in the car, let's go look at places. We're serious. It helps a lot having somebody that believes in you, you know?
He lost everything, and he was able to reframe it in his own way and figure out how he's going to continue to strive as a person and move forward.
Doing everything I can to get my kid back. Completed treatment, I took parenting classes, got a full-time job. I mean, if you mean inspiration, there's so many times I pull my phone out and look at his pictures or video I do have. I imagine me and him over in Florida playing. When he's a little bigger, going to the park. Us going and playing tennis and football, baseball, going camping with him. It was just how good it felt to come home from work and him come running up, want me to pick him up and hold him. I mean, most people, they talk about what they want to do, but there's no reason you can't just do it, you know? So, I mean, I'm going to go back to school and get my law degree.
He was accepted into a 2-year college, and he'll be doing his liberal studies there, and then transferring once he's complete.
In half a year, look how far I've came. It all started from housing, you know, home base. You don't think you'd ever have a place to live or a car or your license back. But once you got it, you're going to do everything you can do not to lose it. No way I'd go back to that. And on top of that, I have Amber. She's got my back.
If you gave to United Way in the past year, you can feel really good that you are part of Dwayne's success. And isn't it great to see just in 6 months how much his life has changed and how with the right support and the right intervention at the right time, he absolutely has regained hope and that life for him and his son can be better. And that's what really it is about being what it means to be a force for good in our community, and that you can feel really good that together, not one of us could have done that, but all of us together, we made that happen together, and that we will continue to help serve others that need help, like Dwayne, in our community, because this is how we will be able to end homelessness. We have a bold goal. But we know that with your help and with the community coming together, we can absolutely do this. And not only is this good for Dwayne, I mean, his family is being restored, but it's good for our community in that we know that it's less detox visits, less ambulance visits, less police calls. We know that these things all add up. And we know that if we have the right intervention at the right point in time, we can absolutely change what it will look like for Dwayne and for others. So again, that's the picture of community impact. Looking at problems differently in our community, bringing the right partners together, and putting the resources that we need to put that into action. Thank you to all of our community partners again for all of your help in making sure that these both goals come together, because not one organization can do this alone. We all have to do it, and we will do it together. Today, we invite you to invest. Today, we invite you to be an advocate. And today, we invite you to volunteer throughout the next few months. Our community needs you more now than ever before, and there's a lot going on in the world. The biggest thing that you can do, I think, also for our community is to be a spark that creates that excitement for others. And sometimes you don't know what other people are going through. I saw something on Facebook just this past week. You never know what somebody else is going through in their life. And if we approach that, if all of us, over 600 of us in the community and 600 of us in this room, take that into the community, how powerful that can be. Sometimes it just takes a small reminder. And some of you know how I love small reminders. So with that, I think there's something pretty powerful and visual we'd like to do with you in this room today. So if you're on the end of the row, I want you to feel towards on the armrest. There's a bag that is on the end of the row. And I want you, if you're on the end of the row, take that bag. And all of you on the end over there, you've got them too. And I want you to take that bag. I want you to open it up. I want you to take one of those badges for good, or AKA window clings. And I want you to take that, and as you get that, I want you to pass that bag along, and I want you to lift it up as you have one. And lift it up and pass the bag. Because again, we're so excited about what this can do. Sometimes, like I said, we just need a small reminder, and we want you to take this with you. And I want you, as you're holding it up, I want you to think about where you want to put it. And whether it be at the office, in a window somewhere, if you want to take it and you want to put it in your car, sometime down the road, you're going to be driving by and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, be a force for good, right? And you're going to see those throughout the community. And those of you that are on Facebook and friends with TC, you will know that we love a good social media push and force for good through social media. And so this is a dual strategy. We want you to take this, and then when you see these out in the community, we want you to take a minute and just take a picture of it and post it on Facebook. And what we want you to do is just with the hashtag #ForceForGoodCastClay, because that's where we want to focus the effort of the next few months. Take this along, and then when you see those pictures, put them on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat, whatever it is that you work on and that you like to work through, and take that with you. Because we want to share that. Because sometimes, like I said, it just takes a little reminder. You can put it down now. You're so good. But it shows, it was just so impressive to watch you go across. And again, we can take this same visual, we can sweep across the community as well. Together, we can absolutely change and create this community that we've had like none other. Another piece of our work is bringing people together. And so we wanted to do something a little different today. We wanted to make sure that not only are we bringing you in so you get to hear these great stories, but we wanted to give you time as part of a social to be together and to collaborate and to share. What are you doing to be a force for good? What things have you seen? What are the things that you're doing in your company? And so we wanted to leave time today for you to do that. And so we have got a social set up, and we're all going to meet back at the glass windows, the bank of glass windows back there. And we've got tables set up so that you can have that time and you can share your ideas and you can share your excitement for the community. And we're going to split it right down the middle because this is going to be so efficient. This side is going to go out, and you're gonna file out and go out and around this outside where we have outside of the arena, still the inside of the hallway. On this side, you're gonna do the same thing. We've got food set up on the outside, so it's really efficient so we can move through very quickly, because we don't want to waste a minute. We want you to be able to be out there talking as soon as possible and sharing that time together. So I really, really hope that you are going to stay. Again, we appreciate the time that you've given us today. We appreciate that you are a force for good. We hope you feel inspired and encouraged, and that you take that and that you encourage others and be that ripple and that spark for a community that desperately needs it right now. You are awesome, you're amazing, and you are a force for good. Thank you for being here with us today.